How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a subscriber story about the spoiled rich kid who is basically being a brat the whole time, and at one point he even said, and I quote, "Poor people are garbage." Thankfully, this kid gets what's coming to him, and the ending is pretty good, and when I saw this story, I just thought I had to tell it on the channel. If you enjoy storytime videos, consider subscribing to the channel with notifications on. If you don't turn on those notifications, you will not see the videos. And also, leave a like on the video right now, and you will receive absolutely nothing, just because I'm feeling extra special generous today. And with that being said, let's get right into the story. So this story takes place during Thanksgiving of this year. The subscriber has an extended family in which every Thanksgiving he goes and visits, and he drives down a couple hours to the location that he goes to, and it's him and all of his family members all meet up for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is an interesting holiday because, if you don't like your family, you are forced to go see them. Thankfully, I like my family. We get along quite well, and it's always a good time to see them. But there's a lot of times where, family are the friends that you're forced to have. So sometimes you guys just don't mix well. It is what it is. But, this subscriber really likes everyone in his family, except there's this one cousin he has, which he cannot stand. Subscriber was, pretty middle class. He just was kind of normal guy, right? And the rest of his family was kind of in the same situation, except he had this one cousin who came from a very, very, very rich family. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that at all. In fact, it's totally fine, right? It's more the attitude and the way you go about it, right? And this cousin had a terrible attitude. And the thing is, I saw a comment on a video I made about another situation or another story that was kind of similar, where someone was just kind of being bratty because they had money. And someone said it really is the parents' fault. And the thing is, I will kind of have to agree. This kid was 9, 10 or something, and at that age, it's still a little bit on the kid because they're doing it and they are at least aware of what they're doing. But at the same time, a lot of it is coming from, how you're raised, if your parents didn't enforce rules around this stuff. But anyways, right, so there's this cousin that the subscriber hates, and he was really hoping that the cousin would, I don't know, go to some fancy trip in Spain or something for Thanksgiving instead. He was really hoping he would get lucky and they'd be like, "Oh no, we're going to Norway to I don't even know, man, we can't come." But nope, they had no plans, and the mom of the cousin was like, "Oh, we're so excited to see you guys." And the subscriber was like, okay. Anyway, so he's driving down, and he's talking to his mom a little bit, or the subscriber is driving down, to be clear. So the subscriber talks to his mom, and he's kind of explaining why he's a little bit bummed out to go. And his mom's like, "Yeah, your cousin does not have the right manners. He doesn't really know. He definitely needs his mom really needs to step up the game." But the thing is, we need to see the rest of your family, right? We're only able to do this, once a year to get everyone together. And don't you like the rest of your family? And the subscriber was like, "Yeah, I do really like the rest of my family. And I should just suck it up because, this guy, how bad can my cousin be, man? How bad can my cousin be?" And let me just say, he underestimated how bad his cousin could be, bro. So let's give the cousin a name. Let's call the cousin Jimmy. Yeah, the cousin's name's going to be Jimmy for the sake of this video. Obviously, his name is not actually Jimmy. I actually didn't even get the name. So there's a small chance it actually is Jimmy, but it's not Jimmy. That's the fake name we'll use for the cousin. Anyway, so the subscriber eventually gets to the house of I think it was his aunt or some family member that kind of hosts this whole thing. And he gets there, and Jimmy is not there. His cousin Jimmy is not there. But basically every other family member is there, right? So he's actually the subscriber's having a really good time just, interacting with his family, just catching up. He hasn't seen them in over a year since the last time he's seen them all in one place was, last Thanksgiving. But normally he'll see some of them more often, but this year was just kind of crazy, and he didn't see any of them during the whole year. But then they hear a car pull up outside, and the subscriber is just okay, this is Jimmy. So he, kind of gets up and he peeks out the window, and outside is this super nice car. He's like, "Yep, okay, there's no shot this isn't Jimmy at this point." So, they're waiting at the door, and they hear the doorbell ring, and, the dogs are barking, and the dude's like, "Okay, it's only a matter of time. He's here. Just get over yourself, bro." So subscriber's like, "Dude, you just got to get through this one night, and also just don't hang out with him, man. Like, it's not that hard. Literally hang out with everyone else. The problem was, like, he was like the age of the subscriber. Oh no, the subscriber was the age of like Jimmy, the cousin, and they were kind of younger than everyone else there. There was a lot of like older relatives, and then there were some kids, but the kids were like 18, 19. They were like, I don't know, like 11, 10. So he was kind of bound to be hanging out with the cousin, but he was really hoping he'd get lucky and just be able to hang out with the older kids, and then also, you know, the parents or whatever. But yeah, anyway, so Jimmy walks in, and his mom's like, oh, hi everyone, oh man, I missed you guys so much, it's so good to see you. You know how it goes. So they kind of go around saying hi to everyone, and then eventually Jimmy goes around saying hi to the subscriber. And he kind of just looks at him and he's like, hi. And, you know, at first the subscriber was like, oh, maybe he's just kind of shy. But he kind of felt like he was being snubbed a little bit because Jimmy was kind of gave him a look. Like, no enthusiasm, no care in the world. Was just like, hi there, cousin I'm forced to be with. The whole family kind of like gathers around, besides some people in the kitchen that are kind of like finishing up the Thanksgiving meal, getting it ready. And the meal would probably be ready in like an hour or so. So the whole family decided to kind of gather together and just kind of like talk amongst each other, you know, just kind of like be there. So Jimmy and the subscriber are kind of near each other, and the subscriber's like, okay, fine, I'll talk to Jimmy. So it's Jimmy and him, and he was kind of hoping that another person would come over to talk like with them, but it just ended up being those two. So the subscriber's like, hi Jimmy, right? The subscriber wasn't like, he admitted that he wasn't being like super enthusiastic, but he was at least like, he was putting in some effort. He's like, hey Jimmy, like, how's school going? And Jimmy's like, I don't even have to go to school because I don't even have to get a job. Like, dude went right on, he started right away on his tangent, bro. On his, like, just his attitude. Not even a second out of the bat, he's already like, I don't need to go to school. I don't need to get a job when I'm older. Like, all right, I'll have plenty of money. And the subscriber's like, oh boy, this about to be a long Thanksgiving, bro. I'm going to interrupt this video just for a second and ask you guys to comment eggnog down below. That's EGGNOG. That's like a festive drink a lot of people drink at Christmas time. If you don't know, like about midway or close to the end of my videos, I have people comment something to see who actually makes it to the end, as I really do appreciate people who watch my videos all the way. And yeah, we're commenting eggnog today. And also, if you want a lot of hearts from me and you want to farm like top commenter or most hearts on the channel, I'm trying to heart as many comments that just comment eggnog down below. So yeah, anyways, back to the story. So the subscriber kind of responds to Jimmy, and just to recap, the subscriber just asked Jimmy like, oh, how's school going? And Jimmy said, oh, I hate it. It's so stupid. Like, why am I even going? Because I don't even need to work when I'm out of college, right? Or out of school. Maybe he doesn't even want to go to college. And so the subscriber is kind of like, you know, he's not very happy, but he's not going to be super confrontational about this. While it makes sense, because, you know, you don't want to start something on Christmas, the fact that, like, the subscriber wasn't confrontational throughout the next, like, bit of the story, he said in the DM that he sent me because you can submit stories to my Instagram, it's in the description. He basically said that he probably was, like, the fact that he didn't, like, push back more against Jimmy was probably one of the reasons why the story went as bad as it did later on. But anyways, back to the story. So then Jimmy wasn't like, the subscriber wasn't too happy at Jimmy for what he said, but obviously he doesn't want to start something. But he kind of said, like, in response, he's like, oh, like, I mean, I'm doing pretty well in school. Like, I kind of have to, because, like, I'm really trying to get into a decent college so that I can go and, you know, get a comp sci degree from a decent college. Because, like, he's like, yeah, I want to, you know, I got to, like, think about money in the future. Kind of, like, in response to, like, what Jimmy said. And it was supposed to be kind of like a little response saying, like, hey, man, like, I actually got to work and you don't. And, like, kind of as, like, a negative thing. But Jimmy was like, yeah, man, that must suck for you. Like, he didn't understand that, like, the subscriber was trying to say that as, like, a negative thing towards Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, huh, tough L, lol. Which, I mean, this was all pretty impressive for them being, like, 10 or whatever. And to be fair, the subscriber, like, I'm going to make the assumption that he, like, saw one of those, like, YouTube videos of, like, best careers. And honestly, I have a lot of friends now that are in college that are getting comp sci degrees because they know it's a good major. So, like, shout out to the subscriber, bro. Like, honestly, shout out to the subscriber for knowing what he's doing so early on. Anyways, Jimmy's like, oh, you probably have to work a summer job too. And at this point, the subscriber had not, but he honestly had been thinking about it because there had been some games they'd been wanting to play. But his mom was like, those are too expensive, or I'm not going to buy them for you. And if you want to get them, you're going to have to do it with your own money and, maybe mow some lawns or something like that. I think the subscriber's too young to like actually get like a real job, but he'd like go around, I don't know if like a paper route's still a thing, or maybe mowing some lawns, or just the stuff you do when you're too young for like an actual part-time job. So he was a little upset by the fact that like Jimmy was dunking on him for like trying to get his hustle on, trying to grind, right? So, but he doesn't respond with anything that negative. He's just like, yeah, probably. And then he kind of ends the conversation. The subscriber's like, I can't do this anymore. So he's like, hey, Jimmy, nice to talk to you. I got to go to the bathroom. He goes to the bathroom and then he comes back and sits somewhere else during the conversation, which honestly, bro, that's pretty smart. So eventually it is dinner time, and that's probably one of the best parts of Thanksgiving. Yeah, I like seeing my family, but bro, that pumpkin pie, man, that's something else. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, right, so it's dinner time and, the turkey's being passed around and cut or whatever. And Jimmy's like, to his mom, he kind of looks over at his mom. He's like, I can take a bigger piece, right? Because I'm rich. And no one really hears this, but the subscriber hears this and just rolls his eyes. He's like, oh my God, Jimmy's actually the worst. Mom responds like, oh, Jimmy, of course you can take a bigger piece, but that's not a reason why you can take a bigger piece. Completely like ignoring how bad what her son just said was, and kind of just saying like, oh, a little slap on the wrist for what he said, but being like, yeah, of course you can get a bigger piece, right? So Jimmy says, or the subscriber's like, bro, you cannot be serious, man. So at the dinner table, right, they've passed around the food, passed around the turkey, things are good, people are digging in, but they're also talking with each other. And for some reason, right, the car ride up for Jimmy kind of like comes up in conversation. His mom was like, oh yeah, it was such a tough ride down here. Like it took a long time. We're in a lot of traffic. We had to go through some cities. And then Jimmy decides to pipe up, which this is the beginning of the end, bro. So Jimmy decides to pipe up, which is, as I said earlier, just like a bad idea. So what he starts going on is he's like, yeah, the car ride took so long and we had to go through this neighborhood and the houses were so small. I don't know how anyone could live in a house like that. There weren't even like, there wasn't a garage with like 3 cars in it, which is absolutely crazy. I don't know how anyone even lives like that. And at one point, the traffic got so bad that my mom was like, maybe next time we should take public transportation, like the train. Then Jimmy goes on to say, and then I said to my mom, poor people are garbage, and I don't want to be around them because I'll catch a disease. And then he kind of makes us look around, kind of like looking for validation after what he just said, because he thought it was like super funny and true, and like everyone would be like, oh, that's so funny and true, Jimmy, like, wow, you're a comedian, like you're actually so funny and true. And everyone's just like looking at him just like blank face, this like, come again? I did checking their ears like, oh, I must have gotten something wrong here, man. So the subscriber's sitting there, and honestly, he's trying to hold back laughter because he knows that Jimmy just messed up. And then he looks at Jimmy's mom, whose face is just blank, just completely blank. But you could see that she it looks like she just swallowed a rock, bro. Like her face was blank, but you could look at her eyes. And all of a sudden, you see that Jimmy stands up, but he didn't stand up on his own accord. His mom yanked him up and literally just walked him out of the house. Literally just pulled him by like the shirt, and Jimmy's like, Mom, right, you walked him out of the house. And then like the dinner table was so silent. And they just wait like a minute, and then they hear a car engine go, and they hear a car leave, and the subscriber's like, no way, dude, this isn't real. He runs out to look out the window, Jimmy's car's gone. And he comes back to the table, and he's just like, what just happened? And nothing really happened after that, besides the subscriber and his family had a great Thanksgiving.